Episode 181 of the HHH Racing Podcast is brought to you by the Adelphi Racing Club.
Adelphi Racing Club, offering a truly personal racing experience. Looking to own thoroughbred racehorses and win at the highest level circuits? We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors. We are partners. Experience the Adelphi difference. Join the club today. Contact us to get a taste of the Adelphi experience and come hang with us this Saratoga meet.
And now let's start episode 181 of the HHH Racing Podcast. Hello and welcome to episode 181 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz, with today's co-host, Kyle Roscoe. We are here live on Penn Derby Day this Saturday. What an unbelievable day of racing they've already had at Parx. Kyle, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you doing, Howard? So far, pretty good day at Parx. I'm having a pretty good day with the 14 in the last race. Get a bump up the price a little bit. So let's hope for a good day the rest of the way.
Man, hats off to Andrew Rydzinski, who was one of our guests on the show Thursday, who loved Scaramouche, the number 14, who just got home in the Gallant Bob. I know Andrew is celebrating. Andrew, if you're listening to this or you end up hearing this, congratulations, man. What a ride. Johnny V was 4 wide. Somehow was able to sustain that bid, Kyle. Real horse for course, beating the ridiculously bet provocateur of my racehorse fame.
Yeah, just the old, everyone says, oh, it's the old my racehorse money and all that. But yeah, I could not justify that price at all. And like I said, but it bumps up the rest of us and we'll take it, especially to Andrew. Like I said, congratulations as well. He'll definitely take that price on that horse.
Absolutely. Everyone, please make sure you subscribe on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Also, we'd appreciate if you smash that thumbs up button. That'll tell YouTube that this is a great show. And also, please make sure you hit the notification bell, which will also tell you when new content will arise. Of course, you can see on both of our name tags there, you can see our Twitter handles. Mine is @HKravitz. You can see Kyle's @Kyle_Roscoe14. At the bottom of the screen, you see the scroll there where you can find my email, which is about to scroll in, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Also, a few quick reminders. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor if you'd like to listen through your podcast platforms. And then also, please make sure you subscribe to the HHH Racing Podcast Power Picks, which were formerly known as our race day blog. Kyle, we've made the official change to Power Picks. Check it out through Patreon. There's information below the video player as well. We've already scored today on the Power Picks, so I highly recommend you guys check that out. We also have a fantastic website, hhhracingpodcast.com. If you have not checked out that website, please make sure you do that. All right, so Kyle, we're going to be covering, of course, 2 fantastic races. They're both $1 million purses. You got the Cotillion first for the 3-year-old girls, and then we have the boys squaring off in the $1 million Penn Derby. We've got Mango Coffee is here. Mango, what's up? Thanks for joining the show. Please make sure you chat in the top right-hand corner if you're on YouTube. Please, any questions, comments you have for myself or Kyle, we'd love to hear your opinions as we chop up this fantastic card. Kyle, we have approximately 25 minutes to post. Now, for those people that are not familiar with our live shows, due to contractual obligations and all the legalities, we cannot actually show the live race as it happens. However, I will be talking through the race as it happens. Also want to let everyone know at home, if you're not familiar with the podcast, there's about a 5-second delay. So what you're hearing now is about 5 seconds after it's actually happening in real time, which means when I say they're off or they're out of the gate. They're already out of the gate, about 4 or 5 seconds into the race. So I highly recommend all of you just go to your TVs or wherever you're, watching the races, turn down that volume, and then go to your computer, iPad, tablet, whatever, crank up the HHH Racing podcast for fantastic analysis. Kyle, let's get into, by the way, let's real quick, the Greenwood Cup, Kyle, and if you saw it, Fearless was absolutely awful, but my long shot pick, I'm riding with Biden, baby. Paco Lopez, 3 for 3, Kyle, on the lead going a route today. Another unbelievable ride by Paco, just stealing it.
100%. I mean, we all know Paco for his questionable stuff on the lead, but definitely good to get that one home, especially for you as well.
And Paco did not look back. We have not seen the Paco look back. I don't know. Kyle, has he finally taken that out of his game? Probably not. But
I was going to say I'm not testing that. But yeah, like I said, very nice to get him home in that one for sure. And like I said, Fearless, yeah, I don't know. I watched it afterwards. I didn't watch it live, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
what happened?
He was asking the entire way like he normally does. He just didn't fire today. He's a nice horse, but he's a weird horse. He just didn't fire at all. There was long shots everywhere in that race. Now, Kyle, I got a lot of things going on, ladies and gentlemen, selfishly here. I've got pick fives going. I don't know if Kyle, if you heard about this or you saw this on Twitter, but out of 110 entries as before the last race, I was actually in first in the stable duel contest, which if you're not familiar with that, it's a fun contest. I did not do very well in that last race. I don't know if the 6 even ran at all. That might not have costed me quite a bit. Let's see. I definitely lost some points. So I just dropped to second, it looks like, in stable duel. But I still have a bunch of live horses, including one in this race. So before we get into the Cotillion specifically, Kyle, we got to bring on someone special. We have live from Parx Racecourse, our great co-host giving us live coverage, Mr. Paul Halloran. Paul, you got plenty blue skies behind you. How you doing?
Oh, hi, guys. Oh, what a perfect day it is here in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. Really good.
Any surprises, any big takes so far? That provocateur in the Gallant Bob was ridiculously overbet, Paul. And Scaramouche, a horse that Andrew Radinsky gave out on this show Thursday, who he loved from the 14th hole, it's the Gallant Bob 4 wide. Quite a big effort by him.
Yeah, I believe my picks that I sent to you, Howard, he was on top in my picks as well. I liked him.
Congratulations.
He was 18-1 when I bet him. We need fixed odds here in Pennsylvania, Howard. He was 18-1. He went off at 9, but we'll take it.
Well, listen, when you drop $5,000 on the horse, like I know you did, Paul, you know he's going to drop in price.
Yeah.
How do you think the track is playing, Paul? Because we've seen Paco has wired the field 3 times in route races, but weirdly enough, in sprint races, it seems like they're outside closing. So I guess it's pretty fair in general, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think on the dirt you can be too far behind, which is what I think Andrew gave out on the show the other night. He talked about that. I talked to Bernie Houghton, a Penn National trainer, actually won one of the stakes on the undercard. It was a 1 horse that he was like 7 wide coming down the stretch. And he said he told his jockey he thought the rail wasn't quite as good. So if he had the opportunity to get him off the rail, to do it. So it seems like the winning move is down the middle of the racetrack.
Any other thoughts on the earlier races before we get into the Cotillion? Fearless was absolutely awful. My upset choice, ride with Biden wired the field, so that was personally good for me. Anything else you've seen today that surprised you or worth commenting on before we get to the Cotillion, Paul?
No, it's been a great day. I mean, and it's been a great day for Pennsylvania breds. Pennsylvania breds have won 4 races and got DQ'd in another race. They would have had five, and not only Pennsylvania, those are 2 or 3 of those are open stakes. So it's just, I'll tell you, it's one of those days, Howard and Kyle, where, the eyes of the racing world turn to a small racetrack, and it's really a special day. The place is packed. It's a Chamber of Commerce weather day. It's like 70 with a breeze, not a cloud in the sky. So it's been a terrific day down here so far.
Well, that's great. So, Paul, we're going to go start showing the PPs. You're welcome to
Yep.
stay on, or if you want to go ahead and you want to come back in a little bit, or you want to stay on. What do you want to do here?
I'll stay for a few, and then I'll leave for the race and come back after the race.
All right. Well, since you're just staying in for a few, let me go ahead and bring up the entries, and I'll let you talk first, Paul, about what you think about the $1 million cotillion here. As I don't know if you can see on your phone here. Here are the entries right now. Secret Oath, who I'm personally trying to play against here, Paul, 7-5, and Green Up, who I love in this race, is being bet all the way down to 5-2. Paul, your thoughts on the cotillion?
Well, I'm with you on Green Up, Howard, but it seems like our ratings should be better. It seems like every horse you like is getting pounded, Howard. So people must be watching. I did run into a guy, Sean Patrick Nolan, who is a friend from Norwood, who's a big positive horse racing Twitter guy. He's down here with a few guys, and he introduced me, and the guy said, "Oh yeah, I watched the show." So people,
terrific.
Yeah, I am. Well, and I'm watching her come by right now. Maybe I'll give you. You want to look at Shahama?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. Hold on a second. Who do we got here?
Shahama.
That's Shahama for Pete and me.
Wonderful. Wait, can you go back to Shahama? Kyle, I'm going to take you off just for still you can see it better.
She's
bring
on
it right
the way.
back on.
She went back into the pit. She's in the
back.
back.
All right.
Just walked by, but
okay. How did she look? How do they look, Paul? Do you see anything in the paddock worthwhile for the bettors?
I'm kind of out in the walking ring area. The paddock here is undercover, which would come in handy at Saratoga on those rainstorms. These are grade 1 horses. They all look good. There's no mystery. The better ones look good. I'm with you on Secret Oath, Howard. Hey, she can win. She's the best horse on paper, obviously. My hope is that she might be a little over the top, and she's been running so, consistently, and she has a lot of, maybe not that much left in the tank, but that's my hope.
Yeah, I mean, she really hasn't gotten any better. She's a really nice horse. I put this on the Power Picks, Paul, of course, our new name for the Race Day blog. I mentioned that D. Wayne has stuffed me in a locker many times before. He's going to have to stuff me again. There's just too many horses that are way more interesting to me in this spot, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I will say is the move that she typically makes, which is kind of a move on the far turn, that has been a winning move today on multiple occasions. So she does have that going for her. But again, if you're going to try to beat a horse, you want to be trying to beat a 7-5 shot. So. Or whatever she is. I think you said she was. I can't see the tote board, but I assume
3-2 right now, Paul. 3-2. She's drifting up very slightly.
I mean, she's certainly going off sub 2-1. You got Baffert in here with the Dare Manor. I'm kind of, I used defensively. Don't love her, but again, don't want to get beat by her. So I'll tell you, it's a good race. It really is. It's a very competitive race, and it'd be very interesting to see how it's run and to see where Saez puts that horse early.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, your thoughts on this race? I'd have to believe that Adair Manor is going to take the lead, and Shahama is going to sit right off. Is that how you see it, Kyle?
Yeah, and like I said, I know that in these route races that you want to be a little bit closer to the pace today, as that was mentioned. So I actually did go. I went Shahama on top. I think I love the switch back to Flavian here, even though Jorge ran really well last time at Monmouth. That's what I see. I'm just hoping, like I said, I'm also trying to beat Secret Oath here. I went 7-2-1 in this race, so that's the 3 I have in my pick 5. So
boy,
am I rooting? A little bit of a price here.
Am I rooting for you, Kyle?
I know you guys have big time Shahama. I was initially against Adair Manor completely. Let me just say for the record on Thursday, I've sort of changed my mind, guys, because 2 reasons. Adair Manor is training unbelievably, and everything, all the buzz I've heard is that she's looking great. And the other thing is she just seems like she's going to get the lead. And so I have this 1-2-7, guys. I'm trying to beat. I still love Green Up. I don't think Green Up is going to be that far off, and I think she's going to sit in the pocket and just get first run on Secret Oath. Paul, how aggressive do you believe that Irad's going to be on Green Up? I mean, Green Up has been on the lead before, but I just have a feeling that Adair Manor is going to be sent very hard by Mike Smith.
I think, especially the way the track we think is playing, that I think Irad is going to force the issue early. I don't think he's going to be in any hurry to stay on that rail, even going a mile and a 16th with a decent run to the first turn. So I agree with you. I think a Dan Manor will be sent, but I don't think Green Up's going to be very far behind her. She really, Howard, could get a very good trip here.
Yeah, I think she figures to get a very good trip. For fans of Shahama, Kyle, she's going to have to sit off a Deer Manor, probably go by and then hold off some others. I like Shahama as I bring up the PPs, but she really hasn't run a fast enough race yet here in the States. But she was very well meant, when she came here, and was a lot of wise guy picks for people in the Kentucky Oaks.
No, 100%. I think the paired Bayard top, I think just helps her, at least looking at the PPs in this race. I think Shahama, especially, granted a pretty slow pace, and she didn't really have any problem with Juju's mapping her last watching the replay, just kind of going past. But I'm hoping for sitting just behind.
Who do we got here? Who do we got here, Paul?
I want to bring in the great Jessica Paquette.
Hey, Jessica Paquette. How you doing, Jessica?
Great. How are you guys?
Wow, it's a real pleasure to meet you. We'd love to have you on the podcast sometime. We are live from the Chicago area and Wisconsin, covering the great day at. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll be live in the Chicago area in 2 weeks for the marathon.
You're running in the marathon?
Yeah.
You're not running this year, Howard.
Nice.
I'm running to the marathon. I'm not actually going to be running in the marathon.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
Good luck, Jessica. That's amazing.
We have the Suffolk Downs quorum we have right here, Howard.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Jessica, what do you think? Jessica, what do you think of the racing today?
The racing's fantastic. The racing office put together such a good card. These are days that are so fun and so hard for a handicapper. And kind of coming up into this race, I think Secret Oath is a little vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
We all agree.
That's what we're thinking too. Yep.
Give us the Cotillion Penn Derby double, Jessica.
So I like Society here, who I think is getting good at exactly the right time.
Wow.
Peaking right now. Gave a great impression when I saw her in the paddock too, just holding her flesh really well. A lot of dapples. Checks every box for me. So I'm going to use her, and then with Zandon for the double. And I like White Abario a little bit. I like how he got off the van yesterday.
It looks like the speed's playing really well going 2 turns. So is Paco riding either one of those, because he's been on fire on the lead, Jessica.
And hasn't even caused any incidents.
No, I haven't seen the Paco look back, Paul. Where's the Paco look back?
The first race he won, there was a little first turn action that I didn't know who was on the horse, but I guessed I was right.
All right, well, Jessica, we'll let you enjoy the rest of the day. Pleasure to meet you. We'd love to have you on the show sometime.
Oh, yes. How's that, Howard? One of the best.
Wow. Paul's just bringing all the celebs.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Who else you got, Paul?
Jessica worked the Paddock and Winner's Circle all day today. And now through some contractual thing, it's a TV show being done by Parx with Maggie and Kate and Bradar. But she's really great. One of my favorites from Suffolk Downs days. And she was the president of the New England Turf Riders Association. And just everything that's good about racing is Jessica Paquette.
Yeah, we need to get Jessica on the show. She's
we can make
she's fantastic, Paul. I have Society on the screen. I have to admit, I don't really love Society. I'm not sure where that last race came from. And Parx is a little bit goofy. She seems like an all or nothing. I suppose, Paul, if Society can, outbreak the field and get to lead, we've seen crazier things.
Yeah, well, you got to think they're going to send. The more you look at the race, and the more horses we talk about, this race could be pretty fast early. So we shall see.
Well, I guess if you're a fan of Secret Oath, which really none of us are, but if you are a fan of Secret Oath, you probably want this horse Society, flying out there and setting up for her. Paul, any other thoughts? And we'll let you go and have you come back. Any other thoughts in this race? Anything you've seen in the paddock? Any buzz at the track on anyone?
No, I mean, you mentioned it. Pletcher's got Goddess of Fire here, who is a big long shot, but he's not here. And boy, that Fearless really, really ran poorly for a heavy favorite in that race. He did win a race earlier. He had a 1-5 my racehorse win. I have never seen, guys, more people in a winner's circle in all years at the track. There were probably 150 fractional owners of that 14 horse who won earlier in the day. come to speak of it, we've had 2 14 horses win today. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So again, I think I've been with Shahama since the Oaks. I like Pratt coming back on. I think she ran sneaky good in the Oaks, coming off the long trip. Wasn't training particularly well. So we'll see. And the other thing, the only other, as far as anything close to buzz, I did hear someone talking about the Paddock schooling this week, and they said Cyberknife just looked better than he's ever looked, for whatever that's worth.
Okay, very interesting. People are watching what I'm doing. I'm actually watching Aqueduct with my pick six that just lost. Okay.
Oh.
Anyway, I was
Sorry.
alive. I was alive through several legs, so maybe I can get 5 out of 6. But Paul, I'm all over the place. I'm a serial horizontal player like you today.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, we'll let you go. And
Yeah,
why don't you come back when the race is over then?
You got it.
All right, thanks, Paul. All right, so that was Paul Halloran there, who's live at Parx. Kyle, any thoughts on what he said? Would anything change your mind? Society's probably going to be going to the lead. There could be a lot of pace in this race. I think it's very possible.
That's what I was thinking. That's how I kind of looked back, because if you look at the PPs just through not only Shahama, but you can kind of look through and kind of divvy up who's going to come back from that kind of middle position. That's kind of what I was looking for in this race, because same thing as you, I saw that that there could be a lot of pace in this race. So Society breaking from the outside, not only a Dare Manor, but I mean Green Up could even show some speed. And there's, Secret Oath. Not Secret Oath showing some speed, but Gerrymander can show some speed. So I definitely agree with that for sure.
Matt Miller, I will not question you, sir. I will not say
Yeah.
a Dare Manor can't win. In fact, I've upgraded her, Matt, before I showed you this comment that you have here. So, Matt, thanks for joining the show. We got CJ Andrews. He said he just jumped in. Any thoughts on bias? Kyle, I know there's been 3 route winners, but we've seen the outside do well. I just have a feeling that those route winners were a little more circumstance and not necessarily a bias. I think it's pretty fair track. I really do.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you said earlier, it's sprint races. They were coming from the far outside and they're closing pretty hard, but you've seen 3 route winners today from the front on the dirt. So I feel like it is circumstantial, and I feel like that the track is playing fair. I mean, like I said, we just watched Scaramouche win from 4 wide all the way down the backstretch, coming from a pretty stalking position. So I think the track's playing pretty fair. We'll just have to see what happens with the speed in this race.
Any thoughts on Gerrymander, Kyle? You mentioned that's the one horse we haven't talked about yet. She won the Mother Goose when we were there in person. I believe that was the day. Was that the day before the Belmont, or was that on Belmont Day? I can't recall now. But anyway, is she just a one-turn type? That one number sticks out like a sore thumb. She really hasn't run any other races that are good enough to win other than the Mother Goose.
I 100% agree. And this is another horse that I did look at to kind of the point where she doesn't have to go for the lead, but she might get caught up in that type of a Dare Manor Society type of beat. So, and I just thought that the other 2, Society being just a full send and a Dare Manor probably going to go to the lead as well. I think that they're just going to get the better of her today. And I think Gerrymander just kind of fall to the speed duel of these 2. That was my thinking going into this race. So I didn't have her in there at all.
Yeah, that's how that feels way to me. Looks like we got about 6 minutes. Kyle, we're going to take a short commercial break here, and we will be back in just a few minutes with the Cotillion. You are watching live the HHH Racing Podcast on Penn Derby Day. We will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. All right, welcome back to the show here. We are live on the HHH Racing Podcast. We have a huge audience right now. Please make sure you comment in the live chat. We've got David Barista. David, thanks for joining the show. David is here today. Ralph Conti is here. PA Derby Day is here. Ralph, thank you. Appreciate you joining the show. Everyone in the live chat right now, who do you like in the Cotillion? We've got a few minutes left. Please comment in the live chat who you like in the Cotillion and why. We'll bring up your comments. Kyle, while we wait for people to comment, let's hear your top 3 selections here in the Grade 1 Cotillion.
You know me, I'm going with Paul. I really think Shahama can get, if so long as I think she takes a step forward here. I think she can really get the better of this field, just sitting in that stalking position right behind both Adair Manor and Society. I went second. I went with Adair Manor. I just think, like said, we've signed all week. If the buzz has been around this horse, she's been very well meant for this race. I think she can definitely, not surprise some people, but I think she can definitely get in the money as well. And then third, I have your top pick, which I'll let you talk about as well. I have Green up in third.
So give us the numbers for the bettors out there, Kyle. Your top 3 numbers.
It is 7-1 for my top 3.
Okay. And I'm going to go 1-2-7. I've talked about Green up all week. I see 3-1 right now, I believe, Kyle. Let me double check that.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, and they're actually be going to the gate pretty soon here. Let me check. So, Kyle, just to let you know, I'm watching the Parx feed, which ideally you're watching the same thing. In other words, I'm watching as if I'm at the OTB. So I have the Parx feed on. Is that what you're watching right now?
Yeah, correct. I also have it up.
Yeah, I'm watching it. So again, we are going to be behind, a few minutes behind everyone. Just let you know. So actually, I said 5 minutes. It's not nearly that much. It's really more about like 20 seconds behind, really. So again, when we say they're off, they're probably into the first turn. I see about 3 minutes to post here. Let's talk about the odds, Kyle. And I actually can't bring them up right now, but as I'm looking at them, you got Green up at 3-1. Adair Manor, I actually thought would take a little more money, to be honest. 7-2, 7-5 on Secret Oath, that's about where I thought she'd be. 7-1 on Shahama. If you like Shahama, you are getting a good price, Kyle.
100%. And like I said, I'm going to definitely try to get that price as well. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, Secret Oath, I was thinking, somewhere in that 3-2 range as well. I mean, on paper, she looks like she's definitely the class of this race. She looks like the horse to beat. But I'm going to try and get a little wise guy here with hopefully you can get this nice price, which will definitely help the pick 5 as well.
We got Tom. Thanks for joining live. I know Tom usually works on Thursday nights and can't always watch us live there on the West Coast. Tom, glad you're enjoying the show. He's going with the chalk here with Secret Oath. We've got Robert Healy. Robert, thanks for joining the show. Robert, awesome job. Still live in that pick 5. Hope you have this race covered with many horses. Ralph Conti is going with Gerrymander, who is 10-1 right now. Ralph, good luck with Gerrymander. He's going 5-9 exacta box. Wow, that would pay very nicely. Yeah. Jimmy Vallejo, Jimmy is going $10,000. I'm assuming it's dollars. Maybe it's pesos or who knows what it is. Yeah, could be anything. On Adair Manor. So Jimmy is absolutely trying to crush Adair Manor and Bob Baffert. And there's Roberts going 2-6-1. I'm assuming those are the horses he's alive to. You got the top 3 betting choices, Robert. So as they approach the gate here, Kyle, do you have a specific bet you'd make here vertically? Any particular bet you want to throw out there?
So vertically, actually, like I said, I usually like the back key in this type of situation. It's kind of like whatever you feel is a horse that will definitely come either 1 or 2. I would key Shahama in this part for me, just being that the price going with the back wheel, I think, is definitely a good choice. Howard, Green up or Adair Manor is not even bad at 3-1, 7-2 to try and back wheel here. So I would go, let's just say, I know a lot of people like Adair Manor in here. So let's go, as Adair Manor, you would go 2 with, and then my 2 other choices would be Shahama and Green up. So I would go 2 with 1-7 and then back wheel it, go 1-7 with 2, mixing it up to try and get the same type of payout in both of the 2. So what I mean by that is you can look at the probables when you're betting online. So when you pull them up, you can look at the different probables. And I know they're loading in the gate, so I'll try and go quick. But you mix in your base bet to try and get the same payout no matter which way it comes.
Yeah. And I would go 1 with 2-7 and 2-7 with 1. And I just made a bet. I just fired a win bet on my phone there on Green Up. I said on the Power Picks, and I said on the show that I thought Green Up would be 3-1. If you recall, I said she'd be out half the price. That's exactly what she is. They are loading in the gate for the $1 million Cotillion. We both Kyle and myself are trying to beat Secret Oath with the 1, 2, and or 7. I selfishly would like to see the 1 Green Up win. Hopefully, whatever bets you have will come through. I think the whole key, Kyle, one of the keys is how aggressively Society is sent from the outside with Giroux and how Adair Manor breaks. And we'll see what happens. They are about to leave the gate. Actually, they might have already left the gate, but as far as we're watching, they're in the gate for the Grade 1 Cotillion from Parx. And Society, they're just fixing a Society. Society's in the gate. Here we go. And they're off. Adair Manor leaves fine. Society is absolutely hellbent on the lead. Outbreaks Adair Manor and crosses over. Green Up is in a great spot, Kyle. And Adair Manor is comfortable also. They look like they're going fast, Kyle.
100%. Yeah. And actually, I'm not sure if you saw it, but Adair Manor actually tried to go to the whip there to try and outbreak Society in front. So that might be a little tidbit. But yeah, it definitely looks like they're going fast for sure.
Shahama is in last right now. I didn't notice the break. I'm not sure that's what she wants. Green Up is in a perfect spot, about 4 lengths off the lead. They went 23-1. That's not flying on this track. Adair Manor is comfortable. God. You got Secret Oath is also in the 4 path, about 8 lengths back in 5th, looking comfortably.
Take a look at those odds, Howard.
Oh wow, Society actually dropped quite a bit. You're right.
And look at
they got a half of 46-3. And Society has not really been asked yet. This is interesting. Adair Manor is now being asked. Here comes Green Up and Secret Oath starting to make their move. And Secret Oath is getting an unbelievable trip along the inside. Green Up is going right with her, but Society still has the lead midway through the far turn, 110-4. Secret Oath is trying to catch Society. I don't think Green Up is going to do it. Society and Giroux still has the lead at the top of the stretch. Secret Oath is trying. I don't think she's going to get there. A big late run by Morning Matcha up the inside. But hello, Society for Steve Asmussen and Florent Giroux is going to go wire to wire in the Cotillion. Wow. Morning Matcha, 2nd. And I think Secret Oath, 3rd. Green Up, 4th. Well, that blows up everything for me, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm done. God damn it, man.
We have now seen 4 wire-to-wire jobs, and someone knew something in Society because she took a ton of money late. I said that last race I thought was a bit of a fluke. Apparently not. She gunned to the lead. You got to give Drew a lot of credit. Secret Oath was actually did, I think, what I thought she'd do. She didn't win. She ran just fine. Adair Manor was absolutely awful. Green Up just wasn't good enough. Shahama didn't run much. There's really not much to say, Kyle. They just ring around the rosy again, 7-1 over 45-1 over 2-1 over 9-5. Congratulations to Steve Asmussen and Florent Giroux. This horse has completely turned her career around in the last 2 starts, Kyle.
I mean, that's it. And it's, I mean, Steve, and we always rave about Steve and how he handles his horses and where he picks his spots and stuff. And like you said, the Charlestown Oaks just this completely looks like set this horse ablaze almost. Like he just lit a fire into this horse and now wins a Grade 1 for $1 million. And it'll be really interesting to see where she goes. I mean, where does she go from here? Breeders' Cup, maybe?
What?
This stuff?
Well, I mean, I don't know, but up until the last race, she was purely speed that did not really hang on very well. I mean, she won her first 3, but buyers in the high 70s, you can see there. I will say I did like her at Charlestown, but that's really not saying much.
Yeah.
She was 8-5, and it's a fast track, and she was turning back, and she just got loose, and I mean, just a lot of things. Whoa, excuse me. Hold on a second. I'm going to mute myself, Kyle. Talk about this horse a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. Like I said, I've done it in the past. I've raved about Steve and how he gets his horses ready and where he picks his spots. As I said, it's I think he is one of, if not the best at picking spots for his horses, and he does it again here with Society. Completely, like you said, turns around her career. And I mean, if there's no other speed and she just outbreaks the field again, I mean, this horse just absolutely sprinted away from everybody.
Well, she's really bred well. I mean, this could be
Yes.
the beginning of
Yes.
something big. I don't want to get too
Mhm.
carried away here, Kyle, but she's by Gunrunner, who I heard is a pretty
Mhm.
good sire, out of a Tappet mare. So you think maybe she can go longer.
Yeah.
She's obviously a late developing 3-year-old. We got a lot of comments. We have a ton of people. Let's see what people here are commenting quickly. Let's see here. We've got, let's see here. I'm just looking. David says, "This is a foreshadow of the Penn Derby." If it is a foreshadow of the Penn Derby, actually, I don't really know. Does that mean Taba? I mean, I don't know who's pure speed in the Penn Derby. We'll see.
Mhm.
Alexander Triozzi. Alexander, thanks for joining the show. Let me take the PPs off the screen here. Alexander, thanks for joining the show. I don't know about being toast, Alexander, but again, you know, she's run a lot of dances, and that's what D. Wayne does. And D. Wayne is one of the best of all time. But this just seemed like a spot today to bet against her, and at least I was
Mhm.
right about that. I don't.
Well,
By the
yeah.
way, where do you go? Where do you go with her? Is another question.
Mhm.
Pratt is on We the People. I have not heard who the jockey is, but David, I'd have to. I'm assuming that is correct on you. Matt Miller, see you at the Breeders' Cup. Wow, unreal that. I legit think those days are easier for players than these. Well, yeah, when you win 625K, Matt, sure. I'm sure the Breeders' Cup is easier. We the People is not cheap, folks. We the People is a nice horse. So we talked about this on the pod on Thursday, and I had to fire back. This is a nice horse for a Windstar. I don't think We the People is faster than Taba, though. I think if Taba really wants to go, he can go. I don't know. Robert
Mhm.
Healy, respect. Florent got
Yeah.
him on the front end, her on the front end. Absolutely. She ran huge. Mitch, a little after the fact. Mitch, I hope you liked Society before. I think it's a little tongue in cheek there as he posts that much later. Um, we have Bernita88. Bernita, thanks for joining the show. Bernita's not surprised. So congratulations, Bernita, if you had Society. Let's see. We got, and here, let's talk CJ. I wonder if they do what they do if they go to the Breeders' Cup. The distaff went nuts last year, you know, so we'll see. Let me bring Society back up, Kyle. I don't know if the prices were up yet. This try, by the way, had to be humongous. But let's give a little credit to Morning Matcha, too. Let me bring on Morning
Mhm.
Matcha's PPs because this horse was a huge price, Kyle. Um, she does have a 105 late time form. By the way, that was Paco. Paco is having a hell of a day. You
Yeah.
can say whatever you want, Kyle. Paco is having a hell of a day.
I mean, 100%. And like, I mean, I keep saying, God, I got to stop saying that. I'm gonna make you drink until you're passed out on the floor. But I mean, and she just looked. I mean, she's definitely a late runner, but I just thought she was just looked too slow. I mean, the buyer's going 82, 84. I just didn't think that was going to be good enough to get in the money of this race. But you know, good for her. She was third back, 10 lengths, but back behind Green Up last time. You know, don't take anything away from her. It's definitely a big run from her.
Well, something I want to mention is she had a 105, I think, late time form. She did have one of the best
Mm-hmm.
late time forms in the race. And for people that don't think that matters, it absolutely matters because the race, I wouldn't, well, obviously the flow was not favoring closers, but she was really the only one or one of the few that could naturally close other than Secret Oath. And I thought Green Up might be one of those, but obviously she's not quite ready for this kind of test. So, you got to credit where credit is due. She closed big time and gets a nice chunk. You see the try paid $4.39. I'm assuming that's for what, 50 cents, maybe. Let me see here. As I'm looking at
Let me see.
yeah, that was for 50 cents. And that
Yeah.
exacta was a $2 exacta. So the 50-cent try, $4.39. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you mentioning that. Where do you I gotta take a deep breath because
Yeah.
First of all, that sucked for me and you
Yeah.
and probably a lot of people, I'm guessing. So everything just got blown up. Um, this pick 5 is going to pay nicely. There's still 2 races left. That pick 3, the dollar pick 3 was, I see, almost 400. So more power to you. I never would have this horse. I didn't see it. And you can't say the track is really biased. At least I don't think you can. Kyle, is there such thing as a 2-turn bias and not a 1-turn bias? Not in my opinion.
I mean, I don't agree that there's a bias. I think it's all just become circumstantial. I mean, you saw Society there. I mean, granted, 23 and 46, it was pretty close to the same quarters back to back. But I mean, she was off, but when she crossed the half, she was off by what, 5 lengths to Adair Manor at that point,
Yeah.
or something like that. I mean, these are really good horses, and when really good horses get away like that, there's a lot of chance you're not going to catch them. So big run, like I said, and that's definitely more to Morning Matcha as well. And Secret Oath, and again, talking about her, I think she just ran her race. I mean, like I said, she keeps D-Wayne Lucas keeps putting her in spots. Like I said, I don't think she ran necessarily bad, but like I said, she ran her race, and Society was just the better horse today.
Kyle, here's what I would do with Society. Okay, and Steve Asmussen knows this horse like 5,000 times better than I do. I don't think she will, and I don't think she should go to the distaff. I just think it's a loaded race this year. I don't know if she's quite ready for that. When you really look at this field in hindsight, a lot of horses really didn't run their race per se. I think a perfect spot, if they want to go to the Breeders' Cup, the Filly and Mare Sprint, I think would be a nice spot. And Kyle, as I bring up the PPs, you can see them. Take a look at the very bottom line, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Where did Society break her maiden? Hello, Keeneland
Mm-hmm.
Racetrack. Coming from behind, by the way, in that race with a Julie Burke up at 28-1. So, obviously she's a much different horse than then. If she continues to train on well, why can't she get a piece, or if not even maybe be a threat in the Filly and Mare Sprint, which I'm trying to think of the main players in that race. It's hard to say, right now. There's some horses that might go there instead. But there's no really killers in that division.
At least no, not that I can think of right now for sure. And I mean, you look at even the next race, granted it was in the slop at Churchill, but still, I mean, she ran 6.5, just staying at length in front of everybody and actually widening at the end. I mean, obviously the sprint at Keeneland's 6, correct? 5.5.
The Filly and Mare Sprint is 7.
7? Is it 7? Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's no saying at all why this horse cannot get that distance. I think that's definitely a good, really interesting prospect for her as well, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bernita, you're absolutely right. Asmussen knows how to get the grade 1s. They could easily also, just lay her up for the year. I mean, that's a nice way to end your year with $1 million race. I'm sure Steve will do what's best for the horse. But if she's feeling well and comes out of this race well, I would think she would go to the Filly and Mare Sprint. If she happens to go to the distaff, that changes the pace complexion for sure. I mean, can you imagine this horse, Latruska, again, going quickly with, a bunch of others? I mean, that would add to the complexity of the distaff. I wouldn't like her in that race, but that sure would be interesting.
Well, right. And like you said, I mean, it changes the complete complexion. Now you're looking for horses, I mean, Nest obviously likes to sit just off. Does she sit a little bit farther back now off that race or whatever? But I think it's definitely more interesting for, you're right, the complexion of the race rather than the betting prospect of a horse like Society.
Yeah, last horse we'll talk about and move on. Shahama looked like actually 2 horses. Shahama, I believe, got 5th. It looked like she was sort of mid-pack, way too far back and made a little bit of a run. Adair Manor, I don't know where she finished. Did you happen to see, Kyle? She was all out on the turn. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, it was behind Shahama for sure, and I believe it was their 6th or 7th. I mean, like I said to you, I don't know if she just didn't fire today, if it wasn't her day, but she was working really well as it was noted up to this. I mean, I said at the beginning, she was under the whip just to try and get out to the front, and Society beat her just, not really even asking that much. So yeah, I don't know what to make of that effort. It's just not a good effort from a horse like Adair Manor, especially with the amount of buzz that was on her all week.
Yeah, I mean, she just hasn't come back. The
Yep.
fillies are very tricky. 3-year-old
Hmm.
fillies are just tricky son of a guns. Just to talk, we've got what about 27 minutes, I believe, to the somewhere around there.
Correct.
I believe
25.
to the 25. Okay, to the Penn Derby. Just to talk about 3-year-old fillies. There's a race tonight at Churchill called the Dogwood. It's a grade 3 where Echo Zulu is coming back at even money from the rail. Echo Zulu was a 2-year-old champion last year, Kyle, and I talked about this on our Power Picks. If you don't subscribe to our Power Picks, let me bring up that banner one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Our race day, our racing podcast Power Picks are a tip sheet with ABC grids, long shot plays. We've given out pick 4s, pick 5s, pick 6s. Look below the video player for more information. It's every Saturday. You get it. It's only $4 every Saturday. We have many people that subscribe. I highly recommend all of you look into it. Again, it's through Patreon, and it's called our Power Picks. But on this week's Power Picks, Kyle, I talked about Echo Zulu. I am completely against Echo Zulu tonight. She's missed the entire summer. I mean, she missed all the
Hmm.
big races at Saratoga. There's some other speed in the race. She's even money morning line. That race is tonight at Churchill. I'll be fascinated, Kyle, to see how Echo Zulu does. I'm totally
Yeah.
against her also.
Yeah. And what I was thinking when I looked at this, I thought I didn't know if they were going to scratch Wicked Halo, but Wicked Halo actually did end up scratching out of the race as well as the 2. So it actually comes down to a 5-horse
Oh,
field and that
oh,
race.
really? The
Hmm.
scratches are out. Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
well that
So
changes things. That actually changes a lot for me.
yeah.
Oops. Well,
Well, yeah.
because
They.
the two was the main speed,
Hmm.
which I thought maybe she'd get hooked up there, or not hooked up necessarily, but I thought
But
that'd be a major problem for that horse. And he
yeah.
scratched the other. Okay, so well, you bury the lead. Why'd you say that as I was going on my whole diatribe? All right, well
But
now
I mean,
Akazulu can't lose.
well, yeah, but no, I mean, your first point is still well taken. That I mean, she missed the whole summer. I mean, pardon me because I don't exactly actually know. Did she race another race since she got scratched from Belmont or no? Did she race one?
No, I'll tell you. I'll bring up. We are going to talk about the Penn Derby, everyone. We got a
No,
few
she
minutes.
didn't.
I just want to. I don't think she did. I actually have the
Mm-mm.
PPs I can bring up here. Um, on
Yeah, I show her
on
last
Echo Zulu.
her
No, she
race
has not. I'm
in
going to bring
May.
up here are the PPs for Echo Zulu. No, I mean she raced in Kentucky Oaks, and she hasn't been seen since. So
I mean, look at her workout report. Even I mean, granted, obviously it's Echo Zulu, and she's very talented. But June 5th to 3 on in late August, and then
yeah,
and then starts up in late August. I mean, and she's not working obscenely well by any means. She's not
no,
working bad, but I I mean, this horse is going to be now, especially with the scratch of Wicked Halo. I mean, this horse is going to be what 4 to 5, maybe 3 to 5, somewhere around
I'd
even
say
money.
3 to 5. I still like Tarabi the 4. That's
Yeah,
my pick. I'll go with it. It's basically a 2-horse race now. So anyway, let's get into the Penn Derby, Kyle. I'm going to bring up the PPs for the Penn Derby. We've got 21 minutes to post the Pennsylvania Derby, $1 million, grade 1. Let me go ahead and bring up the Equibase entries here as I do that. Um, Hopefully you're still alive. If you're still alive in any horizontal plays, you are alive to some nice possible scores. So good luck to any of you if you're alive. Here are the entries for race 12, the Penn Derby. It's a grade 1. It's a field of 11. You can see right here the morning line favorite was Taba, 8 to 5. And
4
right
to
now, if
5.
that's correct, is Taba 4 to 5?
I'm looking at yes, that is correct.
Wow.
That is
Table right
wow.
now is 4 to 5.
Wow.
That is really low to me. You got Cyberknife and Zandon both at 3 to 1.
I mean,
My pick in this race, which of course I made this Thursday, and I don't know if there's a track bias or not, but Tawnyport to me, Kyle, is an absolutely ridiculous 17 to 1 in my
yeah.
opinion. That's my top choice. I don't know if I'm going to stay with it in the next 20 minutes, not because of the 17 to 1, but because of the way the track is playing. Let's go ahead and run down the PPs here. Let me go ahead and switch. Kyle, as I go ahead and bring up the PPs, What's your overall thoughts in this race first, in general?
I mean, just first thing to say as well. I mean, no one is even near these top three. I mean, Taba's 4-5, Cyberknife's 3-1, and Zandon's 3-1. I mean, the next closest horse is Tawnyport. It's 17-1. So all the money is coming on these three right now. And I mean, going to my overall thoughts, I mean, I did like Taba on top. I mean, Cyberknife is obviously training really well. He ran a really good Haskell. And he didn't run horribly in the Travers. I just think he didn't do something. He did something that he didn't like to do, which was be on the lead early. But I mean, that 4-5 on table is extremely low to me, at least. Man, it's hard because now you're looking because now my brain wants to look elsewhere than Taba, but I don't know what to do because I think he will be close enough to the lead to where if there is a track bias today, I don't feel like he's going to be hurt too much by it. But that 4-5 is making my brain want to look elsewhere.
If you want to say the Baffert barn is like cold, or if you're negative to Baffert, I think it's a bit unfair only because I don't think Adair Manor is the same horse as Taba. I mean, Taba has been well meant all along. Adair Manor outside of California has not been good. Taba has proved that he can run outside of California. He's been working well. If I'm Mike Smith, I'm aggressive here. I don't know if Taba's going to get the lead, but I do not want Taba too far off, in my opinion. Mainly because maybe the track's getting a little speed favoring, but I just think he's better close to the lead. And what I really like about Taba in this spot, other than the price, is I think this horse wants to be in the outside. Last time in the Haskell, at least the excuse was he didn't want to be in behind horses. Remember that goofy ride, and then Mike Smith had to angle out and couldn't quite get to Cyberknife. There's no excuses today. Taba's going to be in the 3-4 path most of the way, which is where he wants to be. I would venture to say he's the most talented horse. The question, Kyle, is can he put it together on a big day? Because he hasn't really done it since the San Diego Derby.
Correct. And like I said, that's kind of the thing where coming out of Santa Anita, he didn't run very well in the Derby, which, I mean, you can make a billion different excuses for that. A lot of people have. He ran well in the Haskell. I mean, and you can make an excuse for that as well, but you're not wrong in the point that he hasn't shown up really. He hasn't shown up fully in a big day since the Santa Anita Derby. So, but I do fully agree with you that the 8 post is definitely a lot better for this horse. He's going to sit probably 2 wide, 3 wide, somewhere in the clear and come to the top of the stretch, hopefully not even have to tip out and just go under a ride. And that was my opinion in this race. That's why I like Taba the most. But we've seen really good things from Cyberknife, and Zandon has I think Joel Rosario fits that horse really well. So I think this race is a very, very interesting prospect on the betting side. At least
we have Paul Halloran back. By the way, for anyone's interested in stable duo, I'm in third right now, Kyle, out of 110. So I have Tawnyport and the 6 in the last race left on in my stable. Let's bring in Paul Halloran, who is live at Parx. Paul, we are a bit stunned here. We did not see Society absolutely blasting away and wiring this field. I'm out. Kyle's out. I'm assuming you're out. I'm guessing Pete Bisco is out of their pick 5s. But congrats to Steve Asmussen. This horse has completely turned her life around, Paul.
Well, Howard, you got to listen to Jessica Paquette.
Yep,
she made a guest appearance on the show, and she gave you the winner.
Well, the problem is I made my pick. The pick 5 story has to be bet before those races. But congratulations to Jessica Paquette. She called it, Paul.
Yeah, there's a long way to go, Howard, but I did have that horse as a C, so okay. I'm on life support, but still breathing.
Oh, you are still alive. Okay, congrats then, Paul. Yeah. That's fantastic.
And I got to tell you, Howard,
can we ask, or you don't want to say?
You guys will get a kick out of this because I've said many times I'm no Maggie Wolfendale, but I have seen my share of horses in the paddock, and right when they were going out to the track, I thought the 8 and 9 looked the best. So I threw in a very small exacta box, which worked out pretty well.
Wow.
There you go.
Paul, you could have come back out and said they both look. Yeah. You have mentioned the looks great too, by the way.
And the other thing was, Butchie Reed, who trained the 8s, had an unbelievable day. and that she ran huge to run second there. She was like 40-1. She ran terrific.
Paul, we talked about the fact that Morning Matcha was one of the few horses that had a good, late pace time form rating, and she just closed and did really well. But let's real quick, just one more comment, Paul, because I do obviously we need to talk about the Penn Derby. Any other thoughts about the race? Secret Oath ran just fine. She's just she did what I thought she would. Adair Manor was absolutely awful. Shahama was way too far back, and Green Up just didn't class up. Did I sum it up correctly?
Yeah, I was very disappointed in how far back Shahama was on this track today. You're not, you can't win from there. I will say this about Society: it's easy after the race, but the top buyer in her last race. And actually, you look and say, well, she ran 7 furlongs last time. Yeah, but it was at Charlestown. They have to go around about 3 times to run 7 furlongs. So, hats off to Florent Giroux, Howard. He took that race by the throat and didn't let it go.
Absolutely. Paul, have you seen anyone in the paddock? Who do you like in this race? As we're talking, we're bringing up the PPs. We just had a long discussion about Taba, who is very low in the odds right now. Here's, you see Cyberknife on the screen. Paul Hallen, your thoughts on the Penn Derby?
Yeah, the only observation so far, they're going to be coming by. Skippy Longstocking had to be taken out of the paddock early. She is wound up very, very tight. She's really wound up. Yeah. There's the fine.
There it is.
Yep.
But otherwise, I haven't really seen them saddled yet. They'll be coming by. I might be able to turn the phone on to them when they come by. Brian Dawkins is in the paddock for all you Eagle fans. He's got a big ovation. B-Dog is in the paddock, yes. And, so we'll see who. Howard, Taba is 1-1 right now. Yeah. And Zandon is 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, Paul, for those people that didn't see our show on Thursday night, tell us your top 3 picks and your overall thoughts here on the Penn Derby.
I had Cyberknife, Zandon, and God, I think I might have had Taba third. I'm not even positive of that. I do like the 6 a little, and I think you talked about the 6, Howard, didn't you?
We the people, I did. The horse that you poo-pooed when I singled him on Peter Pan Day.
He can win. He can win today.
On paper, Paul, he figures to be on the lead. Which I'll tell you what, the way this track is playing now could be interesting. I still don't think he's good enough, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, you talked about it before the last race, Howard. The 2-turn dirt routes here today on the lead is really where you want to be. So we'll see if based on the way the last race was run and won, we'll see if that changes anyone's idea here in this race.
Is it possible, because Paul, you and I have been around the racetrack a long time, is it possible all these jocks see the speed and now they're going to go 22-1 and 45-1 and set it up for my top choice as of Thursday, a horse like Tawnyport?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It just, I think on paper, it doesn't look all that fast. But again, based on the way things are going, it's certainly possible. The horses are entering the walking ring right now. Zandon looks unbelievable, by the way.
If you have any shots, let me know. I'll turn the camera around.
I'll turn it around as they come by. You'll get a look at all of it.
Kyle, just out of respect, I'm going to take you off the screen so people can see the horses better.
You're good.
But obviously, stay on, Kyle. So
now just see them as they come by.
Now, who can you tell us who we're looking at here, Paul? As they go by.
There's Zandon.
And tell us how they look. Give us the quick 5 seconds.
Zandon looks unbelievable. Icy Storm. He's a 99-1 shot.
Right.
Parx horse.
Yeah.
Next up comes the aforementioned B-Doc, the horse, not the player. Doug O'Neill ships this horse in from Ellis.
Yep.
B-Doc is a smaller than half the fillies that were in the last race.
Really? Where's his Eagles jersey? Why isn't he wearing an Eagles
Here comes Skippy. Skippy
looks good.
Skippy, I think, is going to go. Skippy's got running on his mind. Like I said, they had to get him out of the paddock. And
those
here comes
ears were pricked, Paul, looked like too. for sure.
Cyberknife is next.
Okay. Be careful of your nose there, Paul. We prefer to see the horse, not your nose. Okay, there we go.
There's Cyberknife.
Cyberknife looks pretty calm and collected. We the People looks a little bit cranked up here.
We the People looks good, Howard.
Okay.
Tawny Port looks very good, Howard.
He's a big horse too, correct, Paul?
Yeah, he's a long neck.
Okay.
Is Tabor.
Simplification wants to be on the show. He's looking over this way.
You got a tie up here.
Okay. Next is a Naval Aviator, who's a horse that Andrew Rosinski, one of our guests, was a little bit interested in as a long shot possibility. But the way this track is playing, I'm not so sure. Paul, while we're watching, tell people who are not familiar with you or the show why you have Paddock access.
Well, as you guys know, I write for the Saratoga Special and Mid-Atlantic Thoroughbred magazine, and this is, of course, one of our tracks, Parx. So I'm just kind of seeing what's happening today. I've talked to a lot of people about, how great it is a day, for a track like this to really have the eyes of the racing world on it for one day. Been able to talk to several jockeys. It's really a festival-like atmosphere. The New York jockeys have been great. Irad not only posing for selfies, but taking people's phones and taking the pictures himself, and Florent Giroux interrupting interviews to sign autographs. So it's really, really been a great day here. The Eagles chant is bursting out here.
The Fly Eagles
Fly. Now the Rocky song. It's all Philly all the time.
Okay. Anything else in the paddock to take a look at here?
There's your Naval Aviator.
Well, Kyle, we got you back on here. You got Naval Aviator, and then White Barrio. Any thoughts on White Barrio, who's been like completely, overlooked?
He's another guy who could go, couldn't he?
Yes. He has to.
You might be right, Howard. Maybe they're going to set it up for Tawny Port.
I mean, doesn't he have to go, Paul?
From out there, you would think so. Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's good. It's great. So I will hop off, and you guys will be off shortly after the race, I suspect. So,
will you be able to come back on, Paul, after the race?
Yeah. How long are you staying on after the race?
We about 5-10 minutes.
All right. Yeah, I will. Likely. If not, if I don't, it just means I'm tied up doing interviews, depending on who wins.
Yeah, no problem.
I will try
Paul,
to. This has been
if
great.
You're not able to come on back, we really appreciate the coverage, Paul. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the race.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go. Skippy Longstocking, apparently the picture in the paddock, Kyle. Let's bring up Skippy Longstocking. We really haven't talked about him very much. I've been up and down with him, in this during this 3-year-old season. Is coming off his best effort in the West Virginia Derby, going by We the People, getting a perfect trip. I have a hard time believing that he's going to get that same trip again up close. The more I think about it, Kyle, the more I think they're going to be rocking and rolling in this race. I really do.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. I mean, if he has the speed to get up there, I don't know if he'll have with all the pressure that looks like it's going to be on him in this race. I don't think. Granted, again, you're not taking anything away from him in the West Virginia Derby. He ran really well that day, granted with a perfect trip. But I just think that there's a lot of horses that can provide a little more pressure to this race, and I think that's going to be the downfall.
How close do you think Cyberknife's going to be, Kyle? I don't think he wanted to be on the lead in the Travers. Of course, we saw that race. We were together watching that race when we had our awesome show from the Crazy Poor OTB in Villa Park, Illinois. My feeling is Drew's going to take back a little and make a run.
Yeah, I'm the way I was thinking about it, just going back through his PPs, I was thinking more not so much I don't know if it's going to be Haskell back, but I was thinking more like Arkansas Derby type of stuff where he just sits kind of that nice stalking trip, and if he's going to get it, he's going to get it trying to tip out from the outside at the top of the stretch.
Yeah, I agree. All right, there's about 6 minutes to post. We're going to take one final break here as I set up some things here on the screen. We're going to take a very short break, and then we will be back for the running of the Grade 1 Penn Derby. Don't go anywhere. You're watching live the HHH Racing Podcast. back to the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz, with today's co-host right over there, Kyle Roscoe. Kyle, we have approximately 3 minutes to post to the Penn Derby. We thank all of you so much for watching us. Please spread the word about the HHH Racing Podcast. If you're not familiar with the show, we have live shows Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, as well as on the weekends. This Tuesday night, we're going to be recapping the races. Plus, Kyle, we're bringing on Bree Mott from Stable Duel. If you're not familiar with Stable Duel, it's a really fun fantasy game. She does a great job with Stable Duel, and she'll be on this Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then next Thursday, we're going to be covering like a glove the Breeders' Cup prep races in Pick 5 for Belmont at Aqueduct. And we're also going to have a show next week, Kyle, for Santa Anita. The Santa Anita show will be a taped show, but the live show next Thursday night will be covering Aqueduct. Kyle, let's quickly go through the odds here. Zandon right now is 3-1. Icy Storm 99-1. B-Doc is 80-1. Skippy Longstocking 17-1. Cyberknife 3-1. We the People 13-1. Tawnyport 14-1. Tava is holding steady, Kyle, at even money. I have to say I'm shocked by that. Simplification 35, Naval Aviator 99, and White Abario 25. Kyle, based on the way the track has been playing and based on the odds, who are you going with in the Penn Derby? Has anything changed based on the circumstances today?
Now that I'm out of the pick 5, the only thing that has changed for me in this race is it's less on the win end, and it's going to be more with the exotics in this race. I am still going to play Taba on top, but this race I'm going to actually key Taba on top. So we're just going to play strictly Taba, and I'm going to play 8, and I'm going to play 157 behind him. Hopefully catch Tawnyport. It can get up for second, provide a little bit of a price in there. And I know some people I saw up in the chat as well. I believe David Barista was talking about, does We the People hang on for the superfecta or try? And, you know, if they're going with the last race and earlier races, you know, if there is a bias, there's definitely a way that We the People can hang on for sure.
I just peel one of our picks. I like Tawnyport. I have a win bet on Tawnyport the 7. And I'm back wheeling Tawnyport in tries. I'm going Zandon. I'm going 158 with 7 with almost everyone. And I'm going 158 with almost everyone with 7 in try. So I need Tawnyport to run first, second, or third. I also have a win bet on Tawnyport. I am out of the tries. I think it's going to be a fast pace, Kyle. I know the track does not really set up for a closer, but I have a feeling they're going to go fast. I think Tawnyport is going to launch from way back and sort of do what Morning Matcha did, hopefully, and sort of clunk up in the money. And I can get a nice try out of it with ideally Zandon or Cyberknife on top. Kyle, they are going into the gate right now for the Grade 1 Penn Derby. Will it be Tava at even money for Baffert and Smith? Will it be Zandon? Will it be Cyberknife? Will there be a long shot, like, for example, Skippy Longstocking, who Paul Halloran said looked great in the paddock? We're going to find out in less than 3 minutes. As I can see, about half the field is in the gate. I'm sure those of you watching at home, they're almost probably in the gate. Again, we thank everyone. Stay with us after the show, ladies and gentlemen. Once this race is over, stay with us after this race. We're going to break down this race just a little bit and talk about what we'd like going forward. So do not leave the show when this race is over. Again, we really appreciate all the fantastic support that we've gotten today. They are almost all in the gate here. Again, I'm expecting to see a lot of speed from White Abario on the outside. Taba has to go, and so does We the People. They're almost all in the gate. White Abario is about to march into the gate. It looked like Simplification was getting a little bit worked up. Here comes White Abario. Come on, Tawny. And you get out for the day with Tawny for the 7. They're all in the gate for the Penn Derby.
Good luck, everyone. Everyone put right now who's winning this race right now in the chat.
They're off. And a lot of horses look like they're going. The outside horses are really going to the lead. You've got Taba. White Abario is sending. White Abario's going to get the lead. You have Taba in second. Simplification is in third. On the inside, I believe, I think it's We the People is in 5th. Tawny Port's in a very comfortable spot. I like where he is, Kyle. For me,
Hmm.
Tawny Port is in 5th on the outside. Your early thoughts, Kyle?
I mean, yeah, 100%. We knew White Barrio was going to have to send from that outside gate. I think Taba's in a really nice spot. I mean, We the People's in a nice spot. Tawny Port's in a nice spot. I think everyone's kind of Cyberknife is a little bit farther back than I would have thought, but I think everyone's going to
Yep.
get a pretty fair run at it here.
Cyberknife is running very comfortably in hand. Tawny Port is being asked a little bit. Xanden's going to be coming up the rail. That might be a little bit dicey. Naval Aviator also making a move. They went 47-1. This is not flying. And here comes Cyberknife in hand, making a move mid-pack. Tawny Port is just the outside. White Barrio still has the lead, followed by Simplification. And We the People, who, by the way, was bet down to 8-1.
Wow.
Tawny Port is struggling a bit. Cyberknife is going to try to find room. Simplification comes outside of White Barrio,
Oh, there
and
goes
Taba
Taba.
just switched out and exploded. Here comes Taba. Cyberknife tried to get to the outside and was bumped. They're at the top of the stretch. Taba takes the lead. Xanden making a big move up the inside with Simplification, but this is going to be all Bob Baffert, Mike Smith, and Taba to win the Pennsylvania Derby. Xanden second, Cyberknife third, and Simplification fourth in 1:48 3/5. Taba looking very good, Kyle, with a great trip and a great ride. Oh boy, did we see another horse that's going to be cranking up for the Classic.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we said it before, this Taba getting that perfect trip right off the speed, just tipping out. And you're right, absolutely exploding at the top of the stretch for Mike Smith. A much better run at it, much better ride from him. And I think I snuck that try in there at the end. I think Cyberknife just nipped Simplification for third.
You need Cyberknife for the try. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I think
I don't win,
but Kyle, I don't want to steal your thunder, Kyle.
I don't win photos.
It's
I know. Oh, trust me. I know.
I don't want to steal.
No, I had it for $5, but I know.
I know. A try is a try. Listen, for sure. I think you did get third there. So, Kyle, after all that analysis, all week long, blah, 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 they come chalk. Taba, Xanden. Actually, it's exactly what it's going to be because Xanden was the second choice. It's going to be 7-5 over 3-1 over, I believe, 4-1 with Cyberknife. Taba got a great ride. Was on the outside like I thought he'd be. This looked like, I won't say a new horse. By the way, Taba drifted up to 7-5, Kyle. So if you like Taba, you got an okay price. 1:48 is a nice time for 1 1/8 miles. He was not slowing down. He's talented. I'm assuming they're going to go to the Breeders' Cup Classic. I don't see why not. Where do you see him fitting in right now, Kyle, in the Classic?
One thing I will say though is I feel like this is becoming it's a different horse now. I mean, we've always been, the Derby thing was always, he had 2 starts under his belt. We don't know if he's mature enough. And I did. Yeah, I know I know Tom was going for that one, which it would have been a lot better try for you. So
8-1-5, everyone, 8-1-5-9 are the unofficial results, everyone. 8-1-5-9. Go ahead, Kyle.
I just think that the world might end now because I won a photo. So I think the world might come down around us. But yeah, I just think that this is, he's really maturing. He's becoming a better horse. You saw he tips out in the clear and he explodes. I mean, it's, if he can continue to improve on these starts, I mean, I definitely think he can fit into at least the top 3 in the Classic. But again, he is going to have to beat horses if they go like Flightline, Life is Good, all that stuff. But again, if he keeps improving upon these starts, he definitely could catch a piece, in my opinion.
He was tactical today. I mean, he's exactly the kind of horse that you want to fill out your exacta,
Correct.
with Flightline, if you believe Flightline just can't be beaten, right? He's going to be sitting, a few lengths off, actually maybe a little bit further off, depending on how fast they go. But he is passing horses. Baffert said, he also said their manner looked good too, but he has been saying all week that Taba is learning how to run and just looks better in his workouts, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the horse was Was he the favorite in the Derby? I'm embarrassed. No, I don't think he was the favorite, right? No,
No,
Epicenter
I
was the
believe
favorite. Sorry,
Epicenter was the
I'm
favorite. Yeah.
embarrassed to even say that. But anyway, he was one of the favorites in the Derby, and it was too much too soon. I think he can definitely get a piece of the Breeders' Cup Classic. And here's a good question, Kyle. Obviously, Epicenter is clearly in the lead for 3-year-old of the year. This is a big win. If Taba can beat Epicenter in the Classic, let's just say, I'll just throw a scenario. Let's say Taba finishes a really good second in the Classic, and let's say Epicenter is up the track, just for argument's sake. Is there any way that you can give Taba 3-year-old of the year? I'd say probably not. But now this is the second in the Haskell. This is a big win in the Penn Derby, won the San Anita Derby, and then in theory finish at top 2 or 3 in the Classic. I think you can make a small argument for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a small argument, but I agree with you. But I believe that Epicenter would literally have to not drop anchor, but he would pretty much have to finish like 8th, 9th, 10th in the Classic with Taba with a good strong second for you to be able to make an argument for that. But
yeah, I think Epicenter
no, I was just gonna say, I mean, don't want to take anything away from Taba. Obviously he's run his race, he's run very well, and I think this is a good step up for him.
Yeah, I think pretty much, Epicenter is a 3-year-old horse of the year. I'll tell you what pisses me off is earlier today I bet a caveman ticket and I singled Taba because I just thought the speed would play well. The problem is I freaking didn't have society. So I'm probably going to do the typical 4 out of 5 thing. I would assume Paul Halloran's alive to the pick 5. I would assume with Taba. At least I hope he is.
I was going to say, I don't know. Did he like Taba that much? I don't know because I know he liked Cyberknife and Zandon. I'll check it right now, but let's see. I don't know what he bet,
I don't recall.
obviously.
It's hard for me to believe he wouldn't have Taba anywhere, but that would really suck.
Well,
for
definitely
him.
somewhere.
The dollar pick 3 pays $300. That's of course without the first leg, which was the 5-2 with the 1. So that lowers the price, obviously, of the pick 5, but it's still going to pay nicely. Let's talk about some other horses just briefly, Kyle, because again, this Tuesday we're going to show the replay of the race and we'll deep dive further. Quick thoughts on the second and third place finishers. Zandon ran well coming up the rail. Cyberknife third, but a bit even in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, especially for Zandon, I think he just runs his race every time. I think he's just a very honest horse, and whether that obviously that run hasn't been good enough to win any of these races, but I mean, he's a good horse and he's been cashing checks for those connections. Like I said, I just think he's a very honest horse that runs his race every time. So a good second again from him. And Cyberknife, yeah, I mean, like I said, whether it is part of the track or whatever it is, I thought Cyberknife, granted, he was in hand on the backstretch, but I think it's a little bit farther back that horse, I think, runs his best. I think being 5-6 off of it is a little bit too far back for his best, but I still think, again, very respectable runs from both of them. It'll be interesting to see where they take Cyberknife next.
I'm watching the replay right now. I was wrong. Taba was actually on the rail. He actually got all the way over to the rail, and basically was in the exact same spot, Kyle, that he was in for the Haskell. The difference is he was more professional and was able to tip out, pretty easily. Got a great trip. Cyberknife did what I thought he would do today. I talked about this on the show on Thursday. Cox was a little bit, he wasn't 100% positive he was going to go in this race originally. The horse ran just fine. I think Cyberknife's a very nice horse, but I did not really love him on the win end today. Again, I'm watching the replay on my other screen. Once Taba tipped out into the clear, I mean, you saw just a natural explosion. I still think Taba's more comfortable on the outside, Kyle. Cyberknife did have a little bit of trouble. He tried to get outside of We the People, and We the People hemmed him in just for a little bit, and they bumped. Taba had absolutely Zandon had zero excuses whatsoever, and Simplification ran a huge race, as did White Abaro. They both ran well, so but this was not close, really. Let's bring in to wrap up the show. Let's go ahead and bring in Paul Halloran, who's live there at Parx. Paul, I guess the money showed. Taba was more professional today than he was in the Haskell. Once he tipped out, Paul, it was absolutely over. This was a very, very good run for Taba.
Yeah, it really was, and we talked before, Howard. That's really been the winning move all day. He wasn't on the lead certainly, but he was in touch and started his move around the turn, and boy, he was impressive in the stretch. Um, but I will say, you mentioned simplification. I thought, White Barrio gave it a good fight. Went as hard as he could, as long as he could. Are we the people? Howard didn't really, he was lingering on the pace, but never really fired.
He's just not fast enough. Um, I guess the big question, Paul. Well, two quick questions. We'll let you go. First of all, were you able to talk to any connections after the
I
race?
did not. I wanted to come back over and get on with you guys. They're still doing Maggie and Caton. So
okay, so real
and
quick.
Mike Smith's running to catch a flight, so he didn't hang around too long.
Okay, so real quick, we'll let you get back to doing your job. Thoughts on Zandon? Ran his race, came up the rail, ran well. Cyberknife looked a little flat in the lane, Paul, as I sort of suspected coming off a big effort in the Travers.
Yeah, I thought Zandon ran huge considering how far back he was and that the rail wasn't really the place to be. I really thought he ran the second best race. Well, he ran second. I'm no genius, but I thought he ran huge. And, I like Cyberknife, but it just seems like I'm a big stick to the plan guy. And I understand why Brad ran him. It's a grade $1 million race and the horse is training lights out, but this wasn't the intent until recently. And, but again, he ran well late. You're not going to win on this track today from as far back as he was.
And I mentioned that exact fact on the show, Paul. I totally agree with you. Last question, Paul, and then we'll let you go. Going forward, Taba, a serious in the money shot in the Classic? Question mark. And then where do you go with Cyberknife and Zandon if they go to the Breeders' Cup?
I think, considering how well 3-year-olds do in the Classic, I guess I would think at this point you put Taba right below Epicenter, don't you? Off of this effort and the way he's run. Zandon, the Classic is a $6 million race and the Dirt Mile is like a 1 or 1.5 or 2, So, it's, I guess a lot depends upon, do they want to stay away from Flightline? If everyone thinks Flightline is just a slam dunk, but, I would think Cyberknife is going to the Classic, and I would think it's probably a more likelihood of him. And, Zandon just ran a good second to the horse who might be the second or third choice in the Classic. So as you've been talking about for months, Howard, we're looking at a loaded Classic.
I have a feeling one of those two, Paul, are going to go to the Dirt Mile. If it were me, I would take Zandon to the Dirt Mile. He's not good enough to going 1.25 miles. I think Cyberknife is more likely to get the 1.25 miles. But I think if Cyberknife goes to the Dirt Mile, I don't think that'd be a bad decision either. I don't think they're that much. How much worse are those horses than Jack Christopher? I say not much worse at all, if they're even worse.
And the way Cyberknife ran in the Travers when he kind of inherited the lead when no one wanted it, the thinking is he runs better with a target, but today there were just too many targets. He had 6 targets today. He doesn't need 6 of them.
Paul, last question. Are you live in the pick 5 so we can cheer you on this last race?
I am.
Okay, well, good luck. Do you want to say who?
Well, the logic, the horses you like.
Okay. Oh, you got more than one? I
have 2.
Okay. Do you want to know the odds? Do you want to know what you're live to, or do you already know?
Sure. No, I don't. I couldn't find them.
Actually, it has not come up yet.
Yeah, maybe they're not going to pay it out.
Why? Because you're alive? Hold on, give me a second here. I don't. I'll text. Well, you can look it up on your phone. I don't actually.
Yeah, the last time I checked on my phone, they only went through the pick 4. So.
Oh, really? That's weird.
Yeah, it is.
I don't even actually see it. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm assuming you're live with the 2 that I like. So if you are, you got the right 2, Paul. Good luck to you, man. Unfortunately, Taba sort of lowered your pick 5 payoff, but it's got to be close to 1,000, I would think.
Well, I mean, there's 2 9-to-1 shots in big fields stuck right in the middle. So, and actually, the first leg, that one horse, unbelievably, wasn't the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was bet, but it was shocking that he was not the favorite. So hey, look.
I got it, Paul. You want to know, Paul?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm assuming. Oh, you know what? They only have the pick fours. You're right. What is the story? They don't have the pick five prices.
Clearly,
right.
Howard, my tickets are the whole pool, and they haven't calculated.
That's right.
Yet.
Well, the pick four for 50 cents is about, if I'm reading this correctly, is about 300 to the one, and then
Right.
six, the pick four,
it's like
is
750.
So
yeah.
Ideally, you multiply those times, like 3.5 in theory. If the six comes home, you got a really nice pick five. And if the one comes home, you probably got about 700, Paul, would be my guess.
Hey, you know what they say, Howard? It would be better than a hot stick in the eye.
Well, that's what I got today. Society put a hot stick right up my ass. Forget the eye.
Wow.
Paul Howard, thanks a lot for joining us today. You'll be with us Tuesday night?
Yes.
Terrific. Paul, we'll see you then. Safe travels, my friend. Appreciate the
guys.
coverage. Take care.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Isn't that awesome? I mean,
yeah.
We're so lucky, Kyle. I mean, Pete Visco does a great job, of course, too, but we're so lucky to have Paul, who has these kind of privileges through his media credentials, to get this kind of coverage. And how about Jessica Paquette coming onto the show and giving out Society at, I think 7 to 1, but should have been more like 15 to 1. Kyle, it's been a great show. Final thoughts on Penn Derby Day as the Cotillion is won by Society for Steve Asmussen and the Penn Derby won by Taba Bob Baffert.
I mean, just brilliant runs by both of them. Society getting out to the lead and just running them off their feet, and Taba just being the horse that we all thought he was originally. I mean, and congrats to everybody that cashed with Jessica Paquette on Society and everywhere else. If you're still alive, good luck to the rest of them. And then, thank you. We had a pretty big audience today, so thank you so much for watching, everybody. It was greatly appreciated.
Not pretty big. We had a very big audience, and I just want to echo all the thoughts from Kyle. We really appreciate everyone joining the live show. Again, next week, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, a detailed recap of Penn Derby Day. And also Bree Mott will be with us from Stable Duel. And also a Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, we will have live coverage, guests to be determined, of a fantastic late pick five next Saturday at Aqueduct as the Serious Breeders' Cup preps begin. And we will also have a taped show for Santa Anita and their Breeders' Cup preps for next Saturday. That show will probably also pop up Thursday night on the YouTube channel. For Kyle Roscoe, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 181 of the HHH Racing Podcast. Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight for Penn Derby Day. Everyone have a great evening. Bye-bye.